The PL Show is brought to you by Kel Chaco, Kel 360, and Kel Kids Toothpaste. It's Sunday, and it means that it's also another time to meet a very inspiring and phenomenal lady. And the woman we'll meet today, a personal favorite of mine. I love her so much. She is not only a phenomenal lady, she's inspiring, and she's a very determined person who tells me that she's a stickler for rules, time, and her principles. I can't wait for you to meet her. But the Kel Toothpaste PL Show is brought to you by the Kel Toothpaste brands, Kel 360, Kel Kids, and Kel Chaco. My makeup is by Cover Experts in Beauty. Listen, hold on. Just keep the drums running and rolling, and let's invite Honorable Abla Dzifa Gomashie. Yeah. AKA Mamaga. But also, it's not just an AKA, it's because you're a Mamaga, isn't it? Please take a seat.
Without a stool. I'm Mama, and you all like to add the ga, which I accept because it's an honor. And so, yes, I'm Mama Jamado, the first in Aflau.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. Now you can tell why I say you are inspiring and I love you so much.
Thank you for the kind words. I heard that intro and I thought, wow.
But we'll talk about, you know, what your life means for girls like me in a bit. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I want to miss you.
The patch of Bantama.
Matthias.
It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me Jidi say we use Kel 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Kel 360 toothpaste.
Gaskia, Kel 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Onim jom kasa.
Kel 360 did the way. It's cool mint, gives me fresh breath, and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling when you know Kel 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Kel 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chaco toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chaco toothpaste, Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Chaco toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome to the program. This is the Kel Toothpaste PL Show. My guest today, listen, she's a storyteller herself. So today I'll keep quiet. She will do all the storytelling. Honorable, you're welcome once again.
Oh, thank you, Keminni.
So where does your story begin?
How do I even start and make it different? Because you're different. And I'm happy that you're interviewing me. Yeah. I've admired you also on television.
Oh my goodness.
Hosting shows.
It means a lot to me.
Yes.
It means a lot.
You do such a fantastic job,
Thank
really.
You.
But I, you know, I have a Christian name which I won't tell you.
Oh, please do.
No.
This is where we spill all the tea.
No, not that one. So I have a Christian name, and then I have a pet name, which are both English and Christian. But I told my father that I wanted to be as Ghanaian as I want to be. And because I was born first on a Tuesday, and then 7 days later I got a Dzifa, and his name is Gomashie. So the arrangement is Abla Dzifa Gomashie. And that happened in my teens.
Right.
I virtually changed everything that I was used to this name. And I think that there's a certain part of me that makes me crazy in a good way. I feel something strongly and then I do it. And I think that may have manifested more when I was probably in my teens, when I left secondary school. And by the way, I had failed my first O-level. I failed my first O-level and my parents had retired. So coming by money to rewrite the exam was challenging. And so I joined Talents Theatre Company.
Oh, I see.
Back in the day, I think this must be 1984, 85. And I met the director of the group then, Kofi Potofi, who became the NDC's chairperson. Yeah. Kofi Ato, who was our international relations officer of the NDC, and now in the speaker's office. These are some of the people whom I met when I was that age. Mami Dokno, who we call Grace Omabu, of course, David Donto, Abia Adachi, and Marvin Adachi, her big sister. Yeah, I met these women who made my life evolve from the child that I was into womanhood. And the opportunity to participate in those theater productions made me realize that one person can be the change maker. And you don't need all the crowd to agree with you. So there was Chaka the Zulu, there was Kwame Nkrumah, there was Jogolo, there was Jakbata, there was all these plays that I performed in. They became like layers of what I potentially could be. The other thing that made me Dzifa Gomashie is the fact that growing up, I saw my mother, then I saw it was Sutherland of blessed memory, and at whose feet sometimes we went to listen when she read to us at the drama studio. And I saw that, okay, so there are women, there are different kinds of women. We all know the same. There's my mom, my first role model, who was a teacher and became a trader at the Medina market, who was calm, and in her stoic silence was a lot of strength and perseverance and industrialization and entrepreneurial and all of that. Then there was Ifwa Sutherland, who was a giant in the literary world. Then there was Mrs. Rawlings, who was the first lady and an extraordinary one, whom I was blessed to work with and for because they produced By the Far Side, which I was production manager, then producer of. So all of these experiences have made me another different woman.
And I mean, these were also strong women in their respective fields. What do you think the influence was? How did they influence you, if you could put that in 3 words or sentences?
They prepared my mind to dare to dream and be ready for the consequences. They didn't have it easy, so I knew that I wouldn't have it easy.
You knew you wouldn't have it easy. How would you describe your childhood?
Freedom to just be me. I wasn't born into a rich family, but we were rich in the sense of being loved unconditionally by our parents. Grown up as I am, let me tell you, I still visit my father every morning before I go to work.
You don't say.
I pass his house every morning.
Daddy's girl?
Daddy's girl.
I mean, how significant is that relationship you have with you, or you had?
Very. You know, my father, and I'm sure there are many people who grew up in Burma camp and in Medina who would tell you the same story that I'm saying. If you stood here and peed on my father's head, he would turn and ask you, oh, you chose to pee on my head? Well, and that's it. End of story. End of story.
Really?
End of story. He will not judge you. He will not criticize you for it. You must have a reason why you did it. That's your portion.
But not you.
No, not his. It's not his. He chooses what he reacts to. And he raised us like that. Right. I could tell my father if I disagreed with him, but I was encouraged and expected to do it respectfully. So I had a family where each of us had our soup, but we all took the banku from the same source, from the same plate. So there's 8 of us. I'm number 6. 2 boys and 6 girls. I'm the 5th girl. And so that's how we ate at home. And that bonding was there. And our mother insisted that we ate together. So I was raised in an environment of a lot of love and opportunity to just be you without question. So my mother told my neighbor, or our neighbor, when I was a child, that our neighbor was called Mr. Odro, and this was in Nyamanni. He said, Mr. Odro, leave this child of mine alone. This one popped out of my womb dancing. And that was validation for me right there that Mama approves that I like to dance. No question. You don't have to agree. Once Mama says it's good, that's fine. So that's the kind of environment in which I grew up. She didn't stop just at that, but gave me opportunity to go to the Center for National Culture in Nyamanni. Go and, like, if I'm terrorizing her, she'll say, Mawaduga, you know, like, don't you want to dance? Go someplace and go and dance. Because then I'm calm.
And she also has peace of mind.
She has peace of mind and she can get rid of me. So that's the kind of family I grew up in. But that alone doesn't influence you. I mean, I'm a product of what I saw in my friend's home. For example, Mrs. Mensah, Martina Mensah and her siblings. Their mother was a Kuyapem, their father was Ever. So even the way they cooked was different. And when I was a child, I love to eat other people's food. So there was always Akpla in my house. And they did a lot of fufu. And so I'll stray there, even though I'll get whooped sometimes for not coming to eat at home and eating elsewhere. I did. But all of these people played a role in who I am. Plus, I went to a girls' school. I went to St. Louis Secondary School. I'm Catholic, by the way. And the training from the Reverend Sisters and we were just about 360 boarders at the time. We're not many. So we like virtually knew each other. And that same collective behavior, you all wear playdeck, even if you are, you know what playdecks were, right? They are sandals, right? And all of us wore it. And we wore the same dress. And it didn't matter whether you were poor or rich. You all just wore that ugly looking shoe.
So the uniformity.
So well, first of all, being a Catholic, you have to be structural. Father says Mass is at 7, it's at 7. Even if there are 2 people in there, right? Being a soldier's child, discipline is also there. You wake up at 6, you wake up at 6. So all of these have worked together, family, school, to give me the sense that I grew up in a safe environment, where boundaries were set and you just performed within the boundaries.
So is it akule or fufu? Which one would come first?
Whichever's cooked, that's cooked very well.
Whichever. So you don't have a favorite
I
necessarily?
don't necessarily have a favorite, except that these days I think that, I don't know how that happened, but I'm drawn now to yam or rice with sardine and egg stew.
Which is quicker to make anyway.
Yeah, is it about the quickness? Because I love cooking. You know, I used to have an eatery. And I used to cook the food myself to sell. Oh, yeah.
You don't say. I never knew that.
I'm telling you. I used to wake up at 5 o'clock and sieve the cassava dough, add my corn powder, cook the akpala, you all say banku, we say akpala. I order me, put in an ice chest, then do the soup and carry it to the restaurant. Because I didn't have money to employ people.
At the time.
And then, at the time when I started. And then, even when I employed people, I would still do as for the okra, I did it myself all the time. So the taste is consistent.
How would you describe yourself in a few words?
Yeah. I just heard one of you tell me, which surprised me though. This is like in the early 90s or mid 90s of me telling someone to give me a ride and he showing off and not wanting to, and I said something about, look at me, I will get a ride anyway. I don't know. I think that sometimes I need to rein myself in a bit, but I'm extremely confident of who I am, and I'm not intimidated by anybody.
Unapologetically yourself.
Sadly.
I see. If younger you looked at you today, what do you think she would say?
She'll say you should have been more daring than you are now.
Why do you think she'll say that?
Because there are lots of things that have come easily to other people. I had to fight for. And sometimes I restrain myself from fighting for it, thinking that you must know that I can, or you must know it's mine. I realized too late that it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you've got to stand up and speak for yourself. Yeah, so I'll tell my younger self to be more daring than I've been.
Than you've been. I want us to take a look at, you know, that younger self in pictures. So let's talk about that mini skirt picture.
Oh, geez.
Where were you going? Where were you three going?
So, no, not the three of us, the two of us, actually. The two ladies, Gloria and I, with our uncle for BA, who will be shocked to see that photo.
To see that.
So, I think we may have been going out and he was just walking us to the gate or something.
I see. And the length of that skirt.
I cannot even believe that it was that short. I may have been influenced by Gloria, and Gloria, you have to accept this.
She's not going to be happy about that.
Well, she doesn't have a choice, because she must have influenced that kind of dressing. Because if it was in my mother's house, I'm not sure if that would have been allowed, though. So it must be a Gloria influence there. Yeah, but it's pretty short.
And it looks good.
Thank you.
It looks
Thank
good.
you.
Anyway, our Seed to Oak segment is brought to you by the Kel Kids toothpaste brand. If you're looking for something suitable for your 2 to 6 years old children, try Kel Kids toothpaste. It's strawberry flavored. It will protect their gum, prevent cavity, and make their teeth strong and healthy. Give them a fresh breath all day.
Brush, 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 brush your teeth. Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush with Kel Kids.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky chicky whiter, chicky chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel Kids. Happy smile.
Welcome back to the Kel Toothpaste PL show. My guest today is a phenomenal lady who is Member of Parliament for Ketu South constituency, Honorable Abla Dzifa Gomashie. Did you always think you'd be an actress?
No. As I said, it kind of found me. I think acting found me. I came out of my mother's womb dancing.
A performer.
A performer. But the acting bit, I think I discovered that.
Right.
I discovered that when I was given the opportunity. It was in search of money to go back to school. That's why I went into acting.
So at this time you had finished St. Louis?
Yes, I'd finished St. Louis.
Where you tell us that you failed your O
Yeah,
levels.
I did. I failed that O level. And I still get baffled that I did, really. Because I used to be told that I was smart.
Not that.
And yeah.
You used to be told. But how about you? Did you think you were smart?
I don't know. I know that I was precocious. I've always been in Penisam. But you know, I from class 4 first term, I was promoted to class 6.
Which means
so I never went to class 4 and 5.
Right.
So how I went to St. Louis and failed that, I think I was just not mature. Probably to a child.
Right.
And I'd lived this protective life that I told you about. And then we lived in Accra. I was born in Bema Camp. Then I was sent to St. Louis Secondary School at age 11.
You don't say.
Yeah.
You were shipped away at age 11.
I was shipped away.
To join some 15-year-old, 16-year-olds.
And it's not the Kumasi you know today. I was really traumatized, actually.
For a little bit.
Now that I think about it, I think I may have found some coping mechanisms, but I was really traumatized. And I remember when I was invited, when I was a deputy minister to that school, to speak to the girls. I broke down. I think that I had kept so much in me of the experience I had in the school. Talking about it, I said, this church, the event was held in the church, the school chapel. And I said, this church used to see my tears. That I didn't have the courage to cry out to anybody. But the church gave me solace and comfort and a hideout, you know.
Yeah.
And I just broke down.
But what were some of the things that made you cry?
Just leaving my family. Like just, you know, you're told that, oh, they are like, your mates are like your sisters or sort. And I could use anything my sisters have without their permission. Now you are in a place where your things and your chop box, and then we had lockers, and your things are packed in there neatly, and it's yours, and everybody has. It was segmented.
Yeah.
But that's not how I grew up, and I'm not sure they thought about it when they were shipping me away to prepare me properly.
Properly for that.
So I discovered being alone at such a young age. Even though in my adult life, I think that it prepared me for independence. I'm so independent-minded. But it was traumatic. It was really traumatic.
It was. So then you went through that. You finally passed out of St. Louis.
Yes.
Where did you go from there?
From there, I joined Talent Theatre Company. But I also sold carvings at the art center, all in the, you know, quest to make a little bit of something so I could rewrite the O-level, which I did. I rewrote the O-level and A-level. And then I went to University of Ghana 10 years after I left secondary school.
Why that long?
Looking for money. Going to school is not easy. It's never been easy. And I don't know, I think my parents didn't teach us to go and ask relatives who had. Because on hindsight, I think there were people that I had on both sides of my family who maybe could have helped
you.
They just didn't show us that side of them. They managed with what they had and taught us to be content with what we have. So even though I may have gone to relatives' homes and seen that these people may have a little something they could help me, I never asked. So I just looked for my own money so I could, you know, go to school. I remember the day I told my mom that I got admission for Legon. She just knelt and said,
I mean, what did it feel like seeing her do that?
Like I've arrived. I've done her proud.
Yeah.
And it felt really good.
Yeah.
It felt really good.
But let's talk about that 10-year, you know, money finding period. Was it an easy time?
How could it be? Look, there were days that, and my girlfriends will testify to this, there were days we walked from the art center all the way to Adabraka police station. Because that's behind the police station was where CTFM is, was where we were going for the classes.
Oh, I see. And from art center all the way to that place. I kid you not.
So there was 3 of us who used to do that walk. And then one day, one of them said that, Chalemian Fedo, I'll do it again. And she stopped coming. We didn't have money. With the 3 of us at the time came from very humble backgrounds. But we pushed ourselves at least.
I mean, but what kept you going?
I used to tell my mom that I don't know why you retired from teaching and now you are in this sun selling corn and granuts and beans and all the cereals in Medina Market. And sometimes I'll go there and see her so tired, And one day I said, why don't you just go and look for this teaching job again so you don't suffer like this? And she said, but who will employ me in the teaching field? You know, at this age now, they won't take me. And I told her I didn't want the market to swallow me. So she said that, well, whatever you want to do starts from your mind. You must think it.
Right.
And so when in 79, 81, Jerry Rollins era, then we started seeing Mrs. Rollins and those kinds of women. She would draw my attention if they were speaking or if they were on television. She would say, you want to be like them. You see how they are speaking? Swagbala, learn, you see? And then, of course, because I love dancing, she would let me go to the drama studio where Ifwa Sutherland was at the time. And yeah, I think this may have helped me tell myself that I may have fallen, but I must rise up.
Yeah.
I must push myself to do well. Plus, as I said, when we lived in Accra, and then my father was transferred to Kumasi, all the teachers told me how smart I was and how I spoke well. And it was there at the back of my mind that even my teachers think well of me. So having failed the exam shouldn't be anything that I can't pick up the pieces.
What was your first acting salary? How much was it?
No pay.
No pay at all?
No.
Zero? All from the heart?
Yeah.
Not even an allowance?
No.
Why?
Nothing.
Hey!
There was nothing. We weren't paid when we were with Talent Theatre Company. I think the stipends came when we did the NAFTI productions and the GBC productions.
Right.
Maybe 2 CDs.
Was it good money at the time? 2 CDs.
Who cared? It wasn't about the...
It wasn't about
I mean, even though it was the money so I could go to school, after I got it, it wasn't the money. It was just the joy of doing it. I think that it just filled a void.
So, I mean, you make some money from those as well?
Acting in commercials, NAFTI productions, doing makeup for Pan-African Orchestra. And then I got employed with the National Theatre in 91 or so. Yeah. So in the 80s, little bits and pieces of things.
So at that time, the dream only was to go to school.
To go to school.
And you wanted to study theatre in school.
No, I as I said, I'm not sure that there's anybody who will remind me now that they asked me what I want to be and I said I wanted to be an actress. It never even came up.
So what did you want to go to school to study?
Teach or be a lawyer.
I see. But when you finally got the money, you went into theatre studies.
At the time, not many of us were on stage, my generation.
Okay.
We were few and we were pretty popular. It was one TV station.
We've come a long way.
We've come a long way. It was one television station. And, you know, we were one of the few young people to make it onto the set. And we enjoyed the popularity that came with it. I mean, with all that I did in the creative sector, I realized after a while but this is not what I want the rest of my life to be. Plus, I remember also that Gloria, the same Gloria, went to the UK and she wrote to me. We didn't have mobile phones then. So she wrote me a letter and she said, so what are you planning to do? Remember, we won't be as energetic like this forever. And we will not look the way we do forever. So you must start thinking what you want to do. And that ignited something again in me. So I decided to go to the university. I did theatre arts, a diploma in that. Then I went back to do a degree. And I read in the handbook that for the degree you could cross-pick courses. So I picked some courses at the School of Admin. I finished that. And I thought, okay, 5 years of university, all in theatre. But that's what people think, that we can't, those of us in theatre, we can't do anything else. So I crossed over to African Studies to do my master's. And they offered me the MPhil, which I took, and I graduated with that.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. But I want to come back to your life as a performer and as a producer. Let's talk about some of the productions that you were on, both in front of the camera and perhaps even behind.
I did a lot of commercials, not always in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. At the time, my friend Yabuachi used to have a lot of productions, like even the It is Magical. I was both a production assistant on it and also the performer on it. So I did a lot of commercials with him. Nafti Productions, yeah. I actually won an award from Nafti as best actress some year. I can't remember what year it was. And I remember vividly, Veronica Kwashi sent me a message that I have won, and the graduation was on, and the day for the graduation, I didn't even have money to go pick up the award. So I stayed at home. She picked it up for me.
And brought it to you.
And brought it to me. I did internship with the late Kalajiman Banaman. He was in radio at GBC.
Okay.
So I did an internship with him. He taught me about broadcasting. And he produced and was the host of Solid Gold, I think, or Solid Black. And it was a musical thing that we'll go to places where live bands were played, and he would talk about it on his show. And I interned with him.
Did you try your hands? Or your voice?
I did voice over a couple of times for him, but that's all for that experience with radio. Yeah, and then of course Ghana Film. Ghana Film was there, and we did a few productions with the likes of Esiedu Renchi,
right,
and his brother Kofi Renchi, Mr. Ashon Katai, all these fellows who used to be in charge of productions at Gamma Films at the time.
Okay.
And our one and only Sir Christopher also. But I think I was quite a bit to handle though. I've always known what I want and what I don't want, and what I can do and what I cannot do. I've always had my own boundaries.
Right.
And I got into some problems with some of my directors and producers. My issue was that, like we are here now, if it was a film, by the time people want to know who produced it or who directed it, they will assess me by the role, not knowing that I'm not the one who wrote the script. So whether it's good or bad, you get the flag. And so I was always careful with what you wanted me to do in front of the camera. I've always had that voice that told me to be careful.
Right.
I don't know where it comes from, but it's always been there. And so I doubt if you see any film or thing I've done where I've kissed anybody or I've dressed inappropriately. I was extremely careful with what I got myself involved in.
And look at you now. There would have been a lot of stories, right?
Can you imagine? Oh, by now, they would have been digging and digging it. You can all dig all you want. There ain't nothing there.
Right. So stage or film?
Stage any day.
Why?
Stage gives you immediate purgation, immediate release and satisfaction. Film, you can do your part and not know what the whole thing is going to look like. But with theater, you're all in the space together. You're rehearsing together. You know each other's lines. But you don't get that from film. And if you're on stage, you're seeing your audience. They're seeing you. When they feel you, they energize you. And you feed off that like, you are like a parasite, each of you. I mean, they are feeding on what you're giving them. You are feeding off their response. And it's alive. I love theater.
Did it become any more lucrative after training?
I don't think so. I've heard really good stories about those who came after we exited, of how lucrative it's become. And I'm so happy for them because that's what we deserve. We put in so much work and somebody's beginning to recognize what we bring to the table. But It was never ever, you know. I remember that sometimes scripts will be brought to me and I'll say, I'll be told, for example, for this role, we are going to give you 2,000 CDs. And I'll go like, I want 8,000 CDs.
And what do they tell you when you say you want 8,000?
Sometimes they leave and don't come back. Or when they come back, they'll say, oh, yeah, Patrona, where do you say, where you are coming from is very high. Oh. And I'll hear feedback from other people who say, hey, yes, one no more deal. But why? I'm putting value on me.
Did that ever bother you that, you know, the value you had put on you was so high that people were not coming back?
No. It still doesn't bother me. It's so what my little head tells me that I'm the best in something.
Yeah.
And it will take a lot for you to tell me it's not. So I've always asked myself, if you were looking for a black, short, fat, or slim, big actress who can speak English, chi, ga, ever, would it be me? If it's going to be me, the charge is going to go because I've added value to myself.
Right. And then, you know, you didn't give up on acting or performing, but then you transitioned from that to politics. Was it in between that Mama's Kitchen happened?
Yes. Mama's Kitchen happened when I resigned from the National Theatre.
Okay.
I felt as if I'd stayed in there for too long, you know, from mid-80s till 2003, thereabouts. I got bored and I thought we were not challenging ourselves enough. And I thought that we were not placing value on ourselves and we were being taken advantage of. We bring the script to life, but people were making the money off our backs and we were not even allowed to determine how much we were demanding. And it was just a back and forth thing, and the name calling and the disrespect and the almost like looking down on what we brought to the table. I just couldn't have it anymore. And so even though I didn't know what I was going to do, I just thought it was enough. So I resigned, and then my friends like my food. So I thought it was about time they started paying for what they ate. You all know yourselves. You all know yourselves who likes to eat my food.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if the love is so much, then people will be willing to pay for it. So I set up Mama's Kitchen, and it did very well. If I wasn't growing, I'm sure that if I wanted just money, that would have been where I'll go back to.
That would have been your retirement plan.
Yeah. But too old for that game now.
And you had it for 10 years.
I did. I had it for 10 years.
When did politics come in?
Partisan politics, or political appointment came in 2013 when a girlfriend of mine hinted me that I could be the Deputy Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. And then His Excellency President Mahama indeed got me called. How I made a fool of myself that night. I was embarrassing. I mean,
tell us about it.
Must you know everything?
Yes. Tell us about that call.
I was home alone that night. You know, I was married to a soldier. My late husband, Brigadier General Martin Ahiaglo, may he rest in peace. I think he was in Ivory Coast for a military thing. And my son was in the academy. So I'd gone for a walk in the evening and come home. I got a call. And it was, now I can mention his name, Professor Tuguba, who called me. And I said, oh no, this is Dzifa Gomashie. I didn't even believe that was me. So I told him that this is Dzifa Gomashie, it's not Dzifa Glikwe. I thought it was Dzifa Glikwe.
Right.
And he said, is your number not so and so and so? I said, yes, it is. He said, yeah, the message is for you. And I said, okay, what's the message? He said, the president wants you to be the Deputy Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts. And I just froze. Then he said, are you there? And I said, yes. I'm standing here with my knees shaking. He said, so what's your answer? I said, like now, I have to tell you, like, I have to answer you right now. He said, yeah. And then I asked him what people usually say. I can't even believe that.
You were gobsmacked.
Completely. Completely. Like my senses just left me.
Yeah.
And it was just me, just a casing standing there. And asking him, what do people usually say? And he said, people usually say yes. I said, okay, then yes. And guess what? I hung up, I sat on the floor and started crying.
Oh.
I think that I cried because I looked at this girl who went to St. Louis at 11 and where I had come to. And I thought the grace of God indeed can come through many people.